I hope you loved that episode as much as I did. Thank you for bearing with us or bearing with me. I'm the one with the shitty internet, with the technical difficulties. And thank you again, Carleen, for coming on and sharing your story and sharing your heart and just being such a good friend through these years. And I can't wait for another hiking adventure soon. We have so much fun when we get together. If you liked this episode, please take a screenshot, share it in your stories, tag me, send it to a friend. I appreciate you being here, and we'll see you soon. What time is it? Podcast time. It's a celebration. What time is it? Podcast time. Hello and welcome to It's Your Effin' Journey. I am so excited to have you hear this interview with my dear friend Carleen. By the way, my name is Melissa McWeeny, and if a life coach and a therapist had a baby, you would get me. My friend Carleen has been probably she's my oldest running accountability buddy and also the inspiration for so many miles. Um, I've shared before on this podcast that, it helps so much as a runner to have uh, miles to dedicate to other people. And that was easy for me to do with Carleen because, as I said, she was early on. I trained for my very first half marathon with her, and watching her, and you're going to hear her story, but she has quite a story, and she's definitely such an inspiration to me. So whenever I ran a big race, I ran it for her, and so many of my early racing photos have Team Carleen across it. My kids had countless Team Carleen shirts. We just adore her and her family, and I'm just excited for you to hear this conversation today. You're going to have to be patient because my internet has been sucking. It was so funny. I had Frontier out here today to help me fix it. And I said to him, I'm like, it's since the snow, because about 3 weeks ago in Connecticut, we got significant snow. And I swear to God, ever since then, the internet has been terrible. And it sucks because I work from home as a therapist, so it's really not hot to have calls be dropped. But anyways, he said that it could be snow. It could be snow covering something outside. So let's cross our fingers that it's better, because the last two interviews have been pretty rough in terms of the technology. So I apologize to all my listeners. I do things very imperfectly around here, so I try to roll with it as much as I can. It is super frustrating when it happens. So I have a couple exciting announcements too that I wanted to share. I decided that I was super grumpy last week because of personal shit going on in my life, because of the world crumbling, what it seems around me. I just was not having a great week. And I said, what would really help me is It's Your Effing Breakthrough. And for those who are new here, that is my signature journaling program where we really deep dive into journaling for 3 weeks and really work through some shit. And I said, well, I don't have 3 weeks because I leave for Tokyo on February 25th. So I said, what if we did a mini It's Your Effing Breakthrough, a full week of really deciding to take care of yourself? Because that's what I feel like has been slacking in my life is I'm staying in bed longer. I'm scrolling more. I'm going to bed later. And then what happens is that in the morning, what gets sacrificed is my miracle morning. It's either way shorter than I like it to be, or sometimes it doesn't happen at all. And if I was feeling really good, that would be okay. But since I'm not feeling really good, I need time for myself. So I am taking this Monday, the 16th. So if you're listening to this the day of the podcast and you want to get in, I'm going to keep the doors open for the people who hear this today who are like, I need this too. So just message me as soon as you hear this, only if it's Monday the 16th. Monday the 16th, the doors are going to close. And we are going to take care of ourselves. It's not going to be super overwhelming. 20 minutes a day max. And we will end it with a live group coaching call on Saturday morning. And we're just going to really take care of some of the thoughts that we're thinking, figure out the direction that we want to head that would feel good for us, and just really lean in to our self-care. So if you need that, message me Monday the 16th, no later, and just say I'm in. It's going it to well, the early bird pricing ended because you guys will be hearing this on Monday, but it's $99 for the week, and I'm so excited to do it because I need this. So if that's you too, I can't wait to see you in there. Um, I was going to say something else. Don't forget about exclusive content. I had an episode come out as a surprise for my listeners last Saturday, which was really exciting because they were like, "What, on a Saturday?" But one is going to come out before I go too, and those exclusive episodes are either really deep dives into the podcast that you've heard on Monday, or it's really personal shit from my own life that I am unpacking in real time and sort of helping the people who listen to navigate their own shit. So if it's $10 a month to support the exclusive content, and I guarantee 2 extra episodes a month. So without further ado, let's welcome my dear friend Carleen. Can't wait for you to hear her story. Okay, here we are. Can you hear me?
Okay, it says it says actual recording is in higher quality.
Good. Okay, then let's just
That's what
trust
this little
that.
message came up. So,
Welcome to the
okay,
It's Your Effing
sounds good.
Journey podcast. Welcome, Carleen. I am so excited to
Hello.
have you here. So I was thinking about this because you were one of my very first running accountability buddies. And we discovered, because we've already recorded this, twice and then had to start again, that we met in, so Declan and your Maggie are both in the same grade, or they were at the time, and they were born in '09. And we met when they were
Yes.
in pre-K.
Yep. So 2011 at fall.
11. Okay, so then I
Yep.
guess, okay. So, and we met they went to the same school together, Museum Academy,
Mhm.
and we were on the PTO together. You were the PTO
Yes.
president, and I was your VP.
As eventually, it was just all three of us
Oh my God, those are the days. Me, you, and Carolyn just
in Lewis's office.
in Lewis's office, like planning all the things. Oh my God. That was so much fun. So, okay. So my very first 5K was in 2013. You were already running by then.
Okay. I was, and I'm trying to remember when like the very first, I feel like it was I feel like Maggie was 2, maybe. So sometime around then. I think I was running when they started Museum, or maybe not, or sometime around when they started Museum Academy. With Fleet
Okay.
Feet, I started.
Yes, you
Because
started at
then
Fleet Feet.
posted something.
You did the,
Yeah.
what was your first training program with them?
My first training was Couch to 5K. I think they call it that.
Yeah,
You know, the beginner,
I
where
love
you
it.
basically can, you walk.
What was your first race?
I I probably should have thought about that. It was in the summer. It was the Weathersfield. The
Okay, Old
K at the
Weathersfield.
end of the
Yeah.
summer. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm almost positive that was the first one.
Okay.
So, yes.
I love that. So, okay, so now, and okay, so your story is so inspirational. It was so funny when I asked you to come on and you were like, "What will I talk about?" Like, you're the most amazing in the world. So when I met you, I mean, I guess you still have, is it sort of like being a recovering alcoholic, like you always have cholangiocarcinoma?
Basically.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when were
Yes.
you,
Yeah.
let's talk about this. I mean, you were such an inspiration to me, not only for running, but always, you know, I always was wearing Team Carleen, and your name was always on the back of my bibs. I mean, like, it was a time. Like walk us through that, like what that story was for you, because it was so amazing. And probably not for you, but to watch
So
your dedication to running through that whole
yeah.
process.
So when Maggie was 2, I was working as a full-time speech therapist in high school. I had my own business on the side. I used to see people after school. Um, and both kids were full-time daycare. So really long days. And um, I noticed that I was tired all the time, but 2 years old, 2 year old, and a 3.5 year old at that point. I mean, who isn't?
Yeah.
So working full time with everything else. So someone mentioned to me that I was losing too much weight and I wasn't as hungry as I usually was, and a lot of indigestion. But that's always been my story. I have wheat issues on and off, and it's like everyone. You fall into allergies, you come out of them, whatever. And I brought myself to the doctor, and he looked at me and he said, "You're just a young mother who doesn't want to go to work, and I don't want to go to work sometimes, but I have to be here, and blah, 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 and you need to get over it, and this and that." And this is my primary care doctor that I was given because my other one moved out of state. And this is the guy, we went through this years ago. After I remember Joseph Peary.
Yes.
That let you go home with appendicitis? Yes,
Yes.
that's him. Never touched me, never sent me for blood work, nothing. So before this
I
happened, that was
forgot
probably like
about
5
that.
months. Yes, yeah. So anyone listening, never go to Dr. Joseph Peary because last I looked, he's still in the area. So yeah, so he just sent me home feeling like I was a failure and I needed to buck up and, get with it and suck it up and all that stuff. So I said, all right, whatever. And then I had an umbilical hernia, and finally I was like, oh, I need to get this taken care of. And that surgeon I went to, when I went to my pre-op thing, he's like, I was telling him how I was having like back pain and indigestion, all this stuff. And he's like, oh, let's send you for an ultrasound, is probably your gallbladder or something like that. So I went for an ultrasound, and I, figured everything was fine, whatever. And I get a call from him later that afternoon asking me to sit down and telling me that I had huge tumors in my liver and I needed to get in touch with an oncologist right away and blah, blah, blah. And that just started the whole thing. So it took like a month. And that was all this stuff happened during that horrible ice storm in 2011.
Yeah.
It was in 2011. Remember that bad ice storm we
I
had?
do.
And
I
everything shut
remember
down for like a
Declan
week.
was very small. Like, it must have been that. It must have been 2011.
Yeah. So maybe I met you 2012,
Yeah.
because that was like a big thing because all the appointments were canceled, everything. So I'm just kind of sitting around in my house waiting for things. And I felt really bad, but I had been feeling bad, but I was told, suck it up. You're complaining. You shouldn't be complaining. And so I ended up going for like MRIs, CAT scans, all sorts of stuff, biopsies, and finally they came back that it's this rare cancer called cholangiocarcinoma, and my liver was like 80% full, and they didn't think it spread anywhere outside my body except I have like the intrahepatic type, so it was in the bile ducts. So it's considered spread when it spreads to the liver, but your bile ducts are right with your liver, so it didn't go far. But it was full, and then I found a great oncologist in Hartford, and he's like, okay, well, we're going to do your options. There weren't many options. The only option was to do chemo because it was inoperable, all that stuff. So I just started, and I went I think it was like every 10 days. I went and was cisplatin and Gemzar, and that was that. And so I think by the time Maggie started preschool, I think I'd been in it a year, and I kind of had the pattern down.
That must have been when I met you, because I think I
I think it
met
was.
you and that was already your
I'd already
story, I think.
been.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Because when it happened, Emily had just started Noah Webster. She was in their pre-K program.
Okay.
She'd just gotten in there, and Maggie had moved to like this ridiculously expensive daycare, but it was the only one that was open early enough for me to get her there before I had to get to school at the high school. So I was really happy when they won the lottery. Like, I really felt like that was winning the lottery when they got into Museum Academy and they could be in the same school. And,
Yeah.
financially, it was a whole lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Because you had to leave your
I think,
job.
oh, yeah, there was no, I mean, I was sick, but my girls didn't know because they still kept going to their full day things. And since it wasn't, I think sometimes if you're given a diagnosis like, you need to do, this medicine or this chemo or whatever your thing is for a year, and then you're going to do this. And then, you've got like a really good chance of being okay. Mine was always very open and still is very open ended. It's, well, we're just going to see every time I question my doctor. He's like, well, we're just going to see. We just have to see where it goes. There's never like an end to it.
Yeah.
So
And they gave you
I
6 months to
started
live,
running,
right?
I believe. Yeah, yeah. He
6 months.
basically, I went through a few bad doctors before I found him, and he was awesome and is awesome still. But yeah, they basically, one guy's like, yeah, we don't see you walking around here for very long because it was my liver enzymes were crazy. And I just was so mad because had that stupid doctor 6 months, 5 months before sent me for a blood test, felt my stomach. I guess my liver was like sticking out. I just thought, oh, I had a baby a few years ago. Things are changing, things are shifting. I didn't realize my liver was visually sticking out. So,
Yeah.
but had he touched me, done a blood test, I would have caught it a lot earlier, which I think when it gets to fill that much of your liver up and it's that bad, a week means a lot. So,
Yeah.
uh, still a little angry with him.
Yeah. I'll say.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So then you found
But
your
that, yeah,
doctor,
that
and your doctor was the one who like encouraged you instead of saying like this is your diagnosis and this is your prognosis. They were like it's all about mindset, right?
he did. So I went to him. I went to another doctor. It was like, he's considered a naturopath, but he's basically a biologist and he studies cancer. He had cancer at a young age. So he was the one that put me on that crazy diet that I like basically couldn't eat anything. Like it was like, I mean, it was the healthiest diet around. But coming from the standard American diet, going to that was really hard. I followed that. I think at one point I was up to, because of him, 120 pills a day of supplements, and he did all this crazy blood work. But for some reason, my doctor doesn't even know why the chemo works so well. Why, if the other pills, the only thing he's like, if I told him everything I was doing, my primary oncologist, and he said, I don't know enough about the supplements. He's like, as long as you're not hurting yourself. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, yep. So, but I threw everything at the wall. And I mean, I went to a shaman. I went to in West Hartford Center. Oh, Dr. Ming Wu. I used to go
Mhm.
he was like every Monday night for his sound healing thing. And he did craniosacral therapy. I had a little doll that he gave me, and I would knock on I mean, I did EMDR, I did Tai Chi. What's the tapping? I learned how to meditate through that course that you go to when you bring the flowers and they give you your word. I mean, I did it all because
Well, I
every
mean you
time when you're in that state,
yeah.
I mean, what else are you gonna do? I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, we've got nothing really. This is basically palliative care, which is it's not a cure, it's just to help you feel better right now and maybe extend your life, but the statistics are horrible. But so I was like, oh, it can't hurt. And I had a bunch of people reaching out to me for different things. There was a wonderful teacher who had retired and she was shaman like. She did something. Felt great after I went to her. Was a total, like, I went to acupuncture twice a week. It was awesome because it helps with nausea, anxiety, all sorts of stuff. So I did everything, like pharmaceutical, Western, Eastern, whatever. I did it.
That's like the will to live.
Yeah, well, I remember saying the first day to the guy, I'm like, no, I can't have cancer. Like, I have two little girls, and one of them
Yeah.
had just been adopted, like finally, after 6 months before. I'm like, no, this is not the way this goes. So, yeah, it was rough, but I had a really good support system.
Yeah.
So, that helped a lot. Very, people who were like, "Oh yeah, I heard this. You should go try this. You should go try this. We're gonna have this prayer group for you." And I'm like, "Hey, whatever. You
Yeah.
know." So yeah, so I went a year. I think I did that for like 2.5, 3 years of chemo, I believe, and then it went into remission where it was stable for so long. They're like, you could take a break, and that's when I was running more. And I think that's when you were probably starting up, maybe, or
Yeah.
maybe a little before that. I can't
So
remember.
now so you found running because of this. Didn't someone suggest it to you?
Someone, well, I was reading something and it said like the more active you can be. And I was in such bad shape mentally, like I could barely drive my car in the beginning. Like driving 10 minutes away from my house was like an achievement because I was such a basket case. And then someone's like, try Pilates. So I did Pilates, which, and those like that weird contraption machine, which was great because I was really sick. I didn't realize how sick I was till I stopped. I
Yeah.
think your body just goes on auto drive, like, oh, I need to daycare, I need to go to work, I need to do this, I need to do the dishes, the dogs need to watch. It just, you keep going, going. And once I stopped, I realized how bad I actually felt. And then chemo on top of it, you feel really bad. So, and then if someone, like a friend, not a close friend, had just put out on Facebook, like, hey, I'm going to do this running program at Fleet Feet. And I remember it was like the beginning of the summer and couldn't keep doing Pilates. It was too expensive. So I was like, oh, well, that sounds good. I ran and, I pretended to do cross country in high school. So I went to it and there was just like really nice people there and they were really encouraging and it wasn't pushy. And yeah, so I just started doing that. And then it's like you get hooked. So I continued I lived at that time, I lived in Hartford. So I was like less than 2 miles away from Fleet Feet. So it was super easy to get there.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know when the hell I met you, but I met you at some point in that, and you had run a half marathon. I think you had just run because you did Hartford
I'd
half.
already done it. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
because
did my first
my
half
first
marathon was
Hartford was with you, but you had already done it.
Harvard. No, you know what? I think my first one we did out of state in case we didn't make it all the way. So we did
Oh,
we did the Falmouth Road Race. So we
yeah.
we went up to Cape Cod and we did that one. It was a lot of fun. And then I think that one it was like the end of the winter, I believe. And then I think we trained for the Hartford half. And then did you do it that time that you nominated me to be the Aiello thing? Was that your first Hartford half?
I don't remember.
I don't
I don't
remember now that
remember. I
all
remember
my dates are
what
so.
what I remember is that and you got me hooked up with Fleet
Mhm.
Feet. So I did my first half marathon training for the Hartford half through Fleet Feet. And I don't there may have been two and I might be getting them confused. But I do remember my first Hartford half was that rainy year, 2014. It was pouring rain. What?
Yes, that was my
You
first. That was
okay.
the one that my first one, but it was like my second half.
Okay.
So,
So we didn't run that one
but yeah,
together.
that
We
one.
ran that one we ran that one separate and I'll never forget that I was so exhausted and tired after that race and you were like, "Melissa, we're all going to dinner in Hartford. Do you want to come?" And I was like, "How the fuck are they going to
Yeah,
dinner? I can't even get out of my bed right now." And I always think of that. I'm like, "Now I get it, but I couldn't do that then."
that was, yes, I do remember that because we ended up going out and it was Maggie's birthday and it was, yeah, we went out. That was a fun night because all of Jill and Cecil's family were there and Will ran like he came in like 20th in the full marathon and, you know,
Oh my god.
it was great. So, yep.
So
But
the next year, this is the one that always blows my mind was it must have been 2015. We were running it again and I think you had gone through all of your training and then had a relapse. The cancer was back and you had to start chemo again that fall. And so I remember
I remember I was so.
I remember telling Tucker I'm like, I'm gonna stay with Carleen no matter what, because she's in chemo, and I'm gonna be there for her. And you fucking crushed it, right? I remember we were in Farmington Ave, and you just flew ahead
I
on
don't even
chemo.
remember.
I do, because I was like, holy shit, like that lady is a badass. You just like, who does that on chemo? Like, what?
I don't know. I think if you could distract yourself enough sometimes
Yeah,
from something that's all, because I feel like back then that was like all encompassing. It's like I
yeah,
was, wait, hold on, I'm just gonna move this blind. I was like the person who had cancer, and like when I met new people, it's like that's what I felt like they knew, because it kind of looked at me and like this girl's got like really crazy short hair, she's pale. It seemed like that was my identity. So if I could have something else, and it was social, and being
yeah,
trying to have stay away from people because your immune system's crap, it was like something I really look forward to, going to run with everyone outside. And race days were so much fun, even if they were really hard and whatever. But
yeah,
yeah. And it was after that that my running slowed down, because we moved out to Granby, and
yes,
with little kids and still going through treatment and all that stuff, it slowed down. And I ended up doing other things, like I joined we have a Y that's close to us, and I did that. And at some point I did the Live Strong program, but I don't remember when. That's a really good program.
yeah,
Yeah, I think it was when we still lived in Hartford. I did that one, and that was really good. But yeah, the Fleet Feet was the best, though. That really, I
yeah,
feel like that program got so many people. I don't know how it is now. I know that the owners have changed.
yeah.
So, but I know they still do have it. But it's like the perfect way to get moving.
It really is, and it really is to like a great way to like build community. And I always love like when Fleet Feet is out like at all the races taking pictures of the people that they know, and it really is like a family.
It is. Yes. They do so much for people around. And then, especially when you really get in there, it's more than just a place to go buy your sneakers and your clothes. So,
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so this was also cool. I know that I used to know so many statistics about cholangiocarcinoma because of your journey with it. But I was able to raise money for that. That was what I raised money for my 2017 Boston, when I felt so badly that I had this like free bib for the Boston Marathon. So I at least put it to good use in raising money for that. But remember all the videos, like I'd have like my kids have to, try to say the word, pronounce the word. But cholangiocarcinoma doesn't it start from
oh my
Vietnam?
gosh,
Or people from Vietnam have it?
it's it's it was the people that had it was like elderly men who ate some type of fish, was the thing. I probably got it from the school I worked in Hartford, that is now condemned for PCBs.
Ah,
And I worked in there. That was a horrible ventilation system, no windows, because the number one like cancer caused by PCBs is bile duct, which is cholangiocarcinoma. So I
wow.
probably got it there, because they can't figure out any. And I worked there. It was then like 5 years after I was diagnosed. It was shut down to be cleaned, and then they found out they can't clean it, so it's still condemned. It just sits there.
Wow. So how are you now? Are you cancer free? Are you in remission? Like how does this work for you now?
I'm never gonna be. So it came back a total of 4 times so far.
Okay.
I was fortunate that I believe it was the third time after I had, because I've only, in the beginning, they're like, oh, all you'll ever be able to do is chemo. That was it. And I think that's why I looked to all those other more alternative things, just because there were no options. It's unfortunately, it's becoming more popular,
Yeah.
but it's just a rare cancer. It's similar to pancreatic cancer kind of thing. And I was just looking for other stuff. But when I was done with chemo my third time, my doctor's brother was like the head of radiation oncology at Mass General. And he's like, I think you might be able to get radiation, which I was so excited about. you know, so that was another whole thing. And going up there, and I had radiation, and that kept it away for almost 3 years. And
Okay.
then it started, like something started growing. It's always these few spots. And it, I guess it's like at a microscopic level and they can't see it a lot of times. So then it stayed away for like 2 or 3 years. And then so I had radiation and didn't have to have chemo, just radiation that time for like a month or something. And I'm still working off of that one. So, but they don't have any, there's really no, I mean, they have statistics. They're not really very accurate because everyone's so different and there's so many different types of, what do they call it, mutations that cause things.
Yeah.
So, just kind of like, oh, this is great, wait and see, which as an anxious person is not the easiest thing to deal with because I still have to go for scans every 3 to 5 months.
I
If I
remember
get a
that being
stomach
really
ache or
anxiety
indigestion,
provoking.
I mean, it's like immediately. I mean, any problem immediately goes back to, oh my gosh, it must be back because
Yeah.
they said they're like it's never really probably gonna go away
Yeah.
unless they come up with something, which they're coming up with stuff all the time, but it's just something. So my doctor's like, let's just think of it as chronic. So that's where we are. We're at chronic.
Wow. So are you like, I mean, you're like this, I don't want to say spokesperson, but like the superstar of this because no one, I
No, I
remember,
can't hear you.
oh no. Can you hear me now?
Wait, so I heard, are you still? And then it stopped.
Are you
Yes.
still like the superstar of cholangiocarcinoma? Because I remember your doctor was always like mesmerized by how well you did with
No,
everything.
there was, yeah. I mean, I feel you and all my friends really helped out because we did quite a few races and raised money for them. Remember when we all went to Philadelphia?
Yes, yes.
That
So
was a
much
lot of fun.
fun. Yeah, we ran the Philly half.
No, there's actually this girl named Sid. I think you say her last name, Sid Towell, maybe, but she is like 25 years old and has it and has been a speaker at things. She's amazing. She does like these updates and this like talking about it and bringing more awareness to it. So, and she's been, I think they did an article about her in like the New York Times or something. So I'm happy to step back for a little while. I mean, I do get occasionally, I ended up writing everything down that I did and I saved it because I will get like people like, oh my gosh, so and so has this. What did you do? So I'll send along the list of, these are the things I did, you're gone.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead. You send along the list of things that you did.
Oh, good. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I have everything on there from like the books I followed, the books I read. It was just like a whole bunch of weird things. I think just serendipity kind of fell like there. I started reading this book and everyone's like, it's about mindset, whatever. So I started reading this book. I just picked it out and it said The Anatomy of Hope and it was written by a doctor. So I figured, oh, I should read this. Well, it turns out the doctor had cholangiocarcinoma. So it's like I didn't even know that, but it's just weird things seem to happen that one thing that I did that was beneficial led to another, led to another. I mean, it just kind of, it was a awful thing is an awful thing to go through, but I kind of think like, where would I be now? What would I
Yeah.
be doing?
Yeah.
I got to spend a lot of time at home with my kids where they would have been in daycare. Yeah, it's just kind of like I think that whole like sliding doors kind of thing. If what happened, obviously I would have much preferred not having to go through this and still think about it all the time, but it's kind of amazing all the people it brought into my life.
Yeah. And I mean, I just remember like the determination that you have and had at the time of like, I remember you going to all of these doctors and all of these things that you did. And it was just, you just had this desire to live and not let this define you. No, am I still here? Do you hear me?
Wait, yeah, I just heard part of the sentence and a little more, then a little more. Now I hear you now,
We're
so say it again.
having a lot of technical difficulties today. So anyone listening, just bear with it. I said, well, it was your determination to live, right? And to do all these things. I remember all of the things that you did, and you just didn't want to be defined by this or not like sort of like pick up every rock and see what was underneath.
Yeah, I don't know if it was like my crazy like anxiety that helped. Like I was angry, and someone's like, "Yeah, I think that anger helps a lot." Like I was just angry, like why, the whole everyone's like, why me? Why
Yeah.
me? But then it was like, why me? Why am I the one to be able to walk away? And all these other people weren't. And I had to like stop doing these because like the places they have like cancer programs, cancer like um support groups and everything. But I'd go and I'd be angry at the people who had the, okay, 1 year, this is awful what you have, but 1 year, it's going to be great. So just stick it out for a year. I'd be angry at them. And then I'd be angry at the people who you get close with and then they die, which
Yeah.
isn't nice to be angry at them. And then you're like, well, why am I still here? So it was like this whole, you just have to find your own way. I mean,
Like
I ended up
survivor
just going to
guilt.
private therapy because I felt that was most beneficial because either I felt guilty or I felt angry at the other
Yeah.
things. So, yeah, it just, some things, I think you just have to try what works.
You're amazing. I'm just so grateful to you. And, like, when I think about like the beginning of my running and doing it with you and having you to follow, because, I was obsessed after my first 5K, but then seeing you, like, you were the one who I saw doing longer distances and embracing training. And I'm so grateful for you. And I'm so glad that you're doing well.
Well, I was so happy. Yeah, all the things you did along the way. I remember going to the Boston Marathon
Oh my God.
and following you
Yes.
along. That was so much fun. And all the help you did I mean, I can't imagine, like, my family, my friends are the best. That's the only reason I'm still here.
Yeah.
So I appreciate everything you did too.
We had so many fun adventures and we need to have so many more. No.
Wait, what did you say?
And we had so many fun adventures and we need to have so many more.
So, oh, definitely, most definitely, especially when it gets a little warmer. I am fully up for the walks and the hikes.
Yeah, we had remember that time in the woods we got lost in the winter in the woods in Simsbury. But thank you so much for your time, and let's definitely get a lunch or a hike or something on the books. Maybe when it's warmer, when I get back from Tokyo, we can walk or hike or something.